Here is a Westinghouse Custom 20 dehumidifier. I'm not really sure what is custom about it. It seems pretty standard to me. This is an older model. This is probably dating back to the, I would go as far as to say the 70s. It is an R12 unit, which was an excellent refrigerant. It's a 20 pint, and the model number is, this is very hard for me to see, ECJ200 or 20001 maybe? Yeah, 20001. With a serial number of hold on a second, EJ maybe? EJ135479. Maybe somebody can decrypt the date if there's date information hidden in there. Made in USA, which is probably why it's still around all these years later. 20 pint capacity, 6 amps, and very low pressures. There's another number, C271210. I'm not sure what that number is. It's a certified. Great. It's got the round coil, which is very jiggly. It had this piece of plastic jammed in between the two coils when it came to me, and it just didn't seem right. I don't know, maybe it is. Somebody who knows more about this particular model can tell me, I'm sure. Unfortunately, it did not come with the bucket. This one, I never intended to even buy this. This one, it was one that I got with what's right now the kitchen air conditioner, that Fetters 10,000. The individual that sold these to me was flaky, and when I went to pick up the units, this was there in place of what was supposed to be a unit with the bucket and had the vertical coils. I didn't end up complaining about it because in theory this is better, it's older, but this does not have the bucket, which stinks, because this one, the bucket would sit on here, and then the bottom would rest up against here, and this is the cutoff switch when it's full. This was not a very good system. It didn't work very well. This is kind of like a spring mechanism that would hold the bucket away from the unit, or away from the switch rather, and when the water filled up it got heavier and it would depress the spring and then eventually press the button in. And this was something that you had to calibrate over time, and it wasn't a very good system because it wasn't super accurate, and sometimes, because these are reciprocating compressors, when it would press in to cut off, the machine would shake a bit as the piston stops, and it would turn the compressor on and off right quick a bunch of times, and it wasn't very good. It didn't work that well. Oh, unfortunately now the whole thing is just missing, so we can't use it. Is what it is. The cord is really old looking. It's not even grounded. Still in good shape though. Very flexible. I have to go to sleep. It's got a humidistat here. It's off, or I guess that's not in calibration or whatever. I find, even on these vintage units, that the thermostats, or the humidistats rather, are not super accurate, or just not accurate at all. I don't know if they were always like that, or if that's something that has happened with age. I'm not quite sure how this cover comes off. I don't know if it comes off. I feel like there's two screws down there maybe. I'd like to just take a quick look inside. Yeah, there's 2 bolts on the bottom. Let's see if we can undo those. I got a quick glance inside just to make sure there's no unpleasant surprises waiting for us inside the machine. Also, I'd like to take a look at the compressor. It would give a better idea of age of the equipment. In fact, it might even have a date code on there or something. So this, I guess, is cracked. That's not good. Let's see, is it willing to come off now? At this point, the knob might be holding it on. Really seems like it should be coming off at this point. Okay, there we go. Okay, the controls are connected on here. And this is going to be a very high hours unit. The amount of dust that's in here is really kind of incredible. So here's our compressor, which I'm sure it probably still works. Oh, there's our date code right there. June 17, 1968. So it's from 1968. And unless there's a small capacitor in there, this might end up being a shaded pole unit. Just kind of interesting. The fan looks like a GE. Oh, that's a very heavy blade. Bearings are in good shape still. Probably one of those unibearing motors. Those things lasted forever. Well, I think we'll go ahead and turn it on with the with it open. Might as well get a better view and sound of what's going on. First thing I want to do is test this light, because I bet that's like a neon light or something really interesting like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and depress the button, and then I will turn on the power bar. Okay, and the light is glowing, so that's pretty cool. Hopefully you can see that. I can't quite see the preview. So the light works. The light does not draw any power according to the meter here. So that's neat. The light works. I'm sure this compressor will have a great start sound to it and operating sound. So let's go ahead and turn it on. When the compressor started right up and runs, the fan is horrifically out of balance though. Oh, got dust all over the camera. Okay, we're done. This is drawing 5.6 amps, 418 watts, the power factor of 0.71. So I'm going to go ahead and say it probably is all shaped full piece of equipment. The Power draw should be going up, but it's not. The compressor doesn't really sound like it's under much load. I think it still has a charge. So turn this around. Now I'll turn it the other way. See, the fan is so out of balance. I can't believe those bearings haven't gone out. How bad it is. I guess that goes to show the durability of those unit-bearing motors. Alright, we're getting some frost on here, which is not a good sign. Although it is cold all the way through here. Actually, this is going to start dripping water. I gotta get some done with it. I have gotta get something done. See if this won't even work here. Now we're going to have a problem with this. There's a way too much frost showing up on there. This is going to be low on charge, I think. It is not going back cold at all. It's going back ambient. So we've got a slow leak in here, which stinks because R12 is almost impossible to find at this point. The compressor is so quiet. What a nice piece of equipment. The discharge is way too hot. This definitely is low, very low. I'll give it a few minutes to see if it recovers, but I don't think that it will. Power draw is 4.9 amps, so it's not that far off, but it's definitely a little bit low. I'm not getting any cold from the second loop there. This is going to be tough to recharge because there's no way to get, it's going to be very difficult to get a service valve on this line. It's very small. And I think if it was going to recover, it would have done so by now. It should have melted all the frost as soon as the pressure built up, and it's not melting. So it looks like we do have a low system here. That stinks. It's not frosted too bad. It's, you know, it melts pretty easily, but it's definitely a little bit low. Yeah, it's not going back cold, so well, that's a bummer. It's low on charge. It's definitely got some charge in there. So it's, you know, it's a very slow leak if there is one, I guess. Obviously there is one, but it's not super bad, at least. Chances are, if it took 50-something years for it to lose this amount of refrigerant, we could top it off and it would be good for several years. Power draw is 4.98 amps. 415 the watts with a power factor of 0.72, so I think it is all shaded cold. That compressor is just so quiet, it's amazing. Does it look like it's starting to defrost, or is it just getting worse? I can't really tell. No, it's definitely not going back cold. You know what? I'm going to give it a few more minutes, because it kind of looks like... It's hard to say. It's not as white as it was before. Is it melting? I don't know. I'm going to give it a few more minutes. It is melting. I wonder if it was just unhappy because it sat for so long. It absolutely is defrosting right now. It's concerning to me though, because it's not cold down here. It's 77, so it really shouldn't get any frost, but it looks like it's starting to defrost. So let's keep it running and see what happens. These outer couple layers have definitely defrosted. Still not going back cold, so I do think that there's something wrong. But it seems like it's improving. It's almost completely defrosted now, and it's starting to condensate. It's getting a little bit cool on the return, not as cold as it should be, but it is improving. For heaven's sakes. It's been running for some time now. We've got 5.09 amps, 435 the watts with a power factor of 0.75. It has completely defrosted and it is pulling moisture from the air, but it's not going back cold. It's going back only slightly above ambient, or slightly below ambient. There's just no point in running it like that. So we're going to have to get this recharged. Actually, it's slowly getting there, but it doesn't seem right tonight. And I'm starting to get water everywhere, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this thing off, okay? So we can catch it. I know this bucket doesn't even work that good, it kind of leaks. Well, see what was just happening there? Obviously it's because I'm holding the bucket, but that's kind of what it would do a lot of times. And that's why that design wasn't the greatest. So I don't know. I'm not familiar with R12 enough to really tell exactly how it's going to work. But being that this is a reciprocating compressor, it should have charged up pretty quick. And I don't think that this is operating quite up to par. So we'll see. Clean it out and see if we can find any signs of a leak somewhere, and I'll try to get my hands on some 12 and see what we can do. I would definitely like to use this thing if I could get it going again. It sounds like there's a lot of gas in there. Maybe I'll give it a couple of more cycles. I'll let it cool down because the compressor was heating up a bit. let it cool down. I'll turn it back on for another 10 minutes, shut it off. I'll do that a couple times, and let's see if maybe it wakes up again. I don't know. It sounds like there's a lot of gas in there, so who knows? We'll see. I'll check it out some more. We'll do an update video. Try to get those refrigerant sounds this time, and then we'll close out the video.